Yeah, the first time on the track just didn't quite go as planned. What's up, guys? My name's Tommy Demsell of Hit You Good Motors. I love America, horsepower, fighting for the Second Amendment, turning left, and going fast. Well, it's my first year out there on the dirt track, so we're still working on the going fast part, but we're getting there. So we finally got the car out to Harris Speedway for the first time ever, and believe me, there were a ton of firsts here. First time towing this much weight with an F-150, first time registering, first time working on a car this much by myself, first time on a dirt track anywhere. But hey, shout out to Showtime Nathan Pierce for some indispensable advice on racing and helping me, get ready. But if you're getting a race car, you might need to anticipate some problems because quote-unquote race ready just means that it's running and it's able to move under its own power. The small things, they need to be addressed though. So first off, I had to replace this leaky fuel pump that you see here, not too big of a deal. Then we had to bend the shifter back to keep it from hitting the drive shaft, which was causing it to shift to neutral or park from reverse, and from what I thought was from second to first, but we'll talk about that just a little bit later, remember that. Had to diagnose throttle sticking, profusely bled the brakes, replaced the master cylinder, which was pretty much full of mud and needed to anyways, but it didn't exactly fix our problem. And then the left rear wheel cylinder, while we're trying to diagnose a braking problem and figure out why this thing didn't want to stop. And then on the test drive for the brakes, we had the U-joint strap bolts shear off, letting the drive shaft come out, and thankfully with no transmission fluid leaking out the transmission. I'm telling you, I would much rather that come out at 5 miles an hour than 70 or 80, so this was a blessing in disguise. But after that, we had to pull the seal on the rear diff to get the yoke out because that's what the bolt had broken off in, but that led to about a quart of rear differential oil pouring out of it, which means that I needed to top it off. But I didn't really want to do that because I didn't know what gear oil weight the previous owner used, and I didn't want to mix them with a fluid top off, which meant that I needed to pull the rear diff cover off on my back in the grass, replace that seal, drain it, and making my first attempt to create a gasket with RTV to seal it and then refill it. And thankfully, the first time ever doing that, it actually held pretty well. Then replace the U-joint and go to 3 or 4 different part stores trying to find the correct U-joint straps. It was actually a mix and match process that made me want to pull my hair out. But then after all that, realizing the morning of the race that, you know what, it was probably those front pads that were glazed over that was causing the braking issue. Now, sure enough, I pulled the pads and they looked like the finish on a bass boat. The only thing that looked good about these pads was my reflection in them, so I rushed out to replace those pads and turn the rotors before the race started. And of course, they weren't simple. They did have the wheel bearings made into those rotors, so I had to figure out how to pack those again. Been a long time since I've done that. But by the way, my friend David ended up saving me probably over $300 and a few hours of work trying to find new rotors and studs by turning the rotors I had for me, even though it was an ideal situation. But David, you are the GOAT, man. You helped me out big time. And also Davis Machining and Cowpens, it's Cowpen, South Carolina. They got that sheared bolt out, extracted it from the yoke on the same day that I needed it, so that was absolutely awesome. After all this, we finally get to the track. But first things first, we got to introduce you to Hit You Good Motors sponsor.
Roll that footage!
Now I want to take just a quick moment to remind you that the Hit You Good Motors racing team is sponsored by the largest no-compromise gun rights organization in America, the National Association for Gun Rights. After working with these guys for the last 5 years and serving as executive director of Palmetto Gun Rights, I can honestly say that there is no better organization to spend your money with than NAGR. After all, it was the National Association for Gun Rights and their state affiliate, Palmetto Gun Rights, that finally pushed constitutional carry across the finish line in South Carolina, my home state, as well as over 24 other states in the nation, and they're also fighting for the same pro-gun legislation in North Carolina right now. Not to mention a no-holds-barred attitude when it comes to holding anti-gun politicians accountable at the federal level, and an aggressive legal arm in the National Foundation for Gun Rights that's been kicking tail in the courts as well. So, click the link in the description and become a member for just $30 a year and squat up with the millions of other gun owners who are joining the front lines to defend the Second Amendment. But for now, back to the show. After our heat races come up, I'm a little nervous about timing for the staging. I get there a little extra early. You'll notice I'm going slower than molasses in February out here, but I'm not trusting the car at this point, and for a really good reason. The transmission downshifted kind of hard on the pace lap and not in a way that really made sense. So I roll into it fairly easy once the green flag drops, and you'll see I'm rolling down the backstretch when it decides to shift to first, and that's not good. Gets me really bad out of shape, but fortunately the car broke traction enough not to over rev the engine or hand grenade the transmission. So I got out really lucky on that.
Anyways, no, it's definitely different because when you're not getting traction, the RPMs are going up, and I've been paranoid about the shifter jumping out of gear, so I automatically think it's the shifter jumping out of gear. It's not. It's just you're losing grip and RPMs are going up. So that's something I got to learn to trust with the car, and I got to get that shifter fixed because it's not too good. But it's cool. It's cool. She's in one piece, so I'm happy.
And I didn't realize it, but at this point, it wasn't the shifter hitting the drive shaft that was the problem that was causing it to downshift. Remember when I said that there wasn't any transmission fluid to dump out of the back of the transmission when I moved the drive shaft? Well, there wasn't at that time, but I finally remembered there was an incline we had to roll up when my buddy towed me back to my trailer on my property, and I'm pretty sure about 2 quarts had leaked out the back of it, causing this potentially dangerous downshift. Now, here's another thing I haven't mentioned until now, all right? You guys are gonna love this, it's funny. So you've seen just how many little things I had to do to get this car ready. Everything had to be done right, had to be done thoroughly, but there was just one little gap in my thoroughness. We roll the car out of the trailer and I tell my wife, babe, I'm not really sure how much dang gas this car has. So yeah, I get to the track with no clue because there's no gas gauge, and I'm not really sure how much gas the previous owner put in it or how much I've used up just moving the car around on my property. But here's the thing, guys. It actually works out just fine. I'm sitting in the staging lane for the main race, and I wonder to myself, I wonder how much gas this thing has in it. I wonder when this thing's going to run out. And right at the moment that I think that, it shuts off. And right after the pure stock race concluded, rain comes pouring down. They push me back to my pits, and thank goodness some of my church family showed up. Alan and Brandy and Jacob, they all showed up and helped us push it in. Jacob their son got to hop in the car and steer it in while we loaded up, which was a big help. Had I gone out on that track, it would have been at a much higher speed during the main event, and should that transmission had downshifted to first, it could have spun the rods in the engine, could have hand grenaded it, or worse, caused a wreck, and there would be no episode 3 of this series, not for a while anyways. But because I actually ran out of gas, we got to come back the following week, and here's the final interview, I guess, of the night. But overall, you know, I got seat time, we got it there and back safe, and the car's coming home in one piece. I'm really, really satisfied, very happy about how it turned out. But anyways, y'all check it out.
What the heck happened?
Ain't got no gas in it.
Oh, Lord. I told you to get that gas can filled up. That's your own fault.
I filled up the tank on the generator and then put the rest in here. But it just goes a little more I thought it did. But you know, because we got here about 6:30, I'm like, dang. After all the stuff, we got the brakes done, the rear diff, I mean, fuel pump, all the little details were absolutely perfect. That's the one thing that just didn't go right. But either way, I'm really happy to come out here because this is just an exercise run. I don't care if I go a lap or 2 down when I go out the next time because we're out here learning, and I'm just blessed enough to have a wife that believes in me and supports me.
Love you.
And a God that allowed me to, you know, have the finances and to live in the USA where we got the disposable income to do this kind of stuff. Some of these guys do it every Saturday night. Maybe that'll be us one day. We'll see. But yeah, it's just it's pretty wild because I've wanted to do this since I was 14 years old. It took 20 years. And Lord had different plans for me during those 20 years, but now He's opened up some doors and allowed us to do this. So I mean, I'm not disappointed at all. I didn't get to run the main. That's fine. We got some seat time. We're gonna try to come back out Thursday for the practice and just have some fun. But you know, like I said, coming out of the turns, you can come on inside. Coming out of the turns, you know, it kept feeling like it was popping out of gear, and I got to get that shifter fixed. So. Because at one point it did. It's hitting against the drive shaft. And so that's what I thought was happening. But no, you're just losing traction and the RPMs are going through the roof because you're spinning your tires. But great first time. Great first time because Lord bless us with safety on the way here. This is the first time I've ever towed this much weight, and first time I've ever been out on a racetrack, and it was cool. Pretty decently calm and collected considering, you know, how much I hyped this up over the course of my life. But I'm a little older, so I guess, you know, a little more nerves are a little more under control. But it's fun either way, and I am so blessed just to be here. And thanks for church friends for coming in. Brandon, Allen, helping us push the car back in. That was awesome. So,
And Jacob got to drive.
Do what?
Jacob got to drive.
Jacob got to drive. He got to sit in the steering wheel. But yeah, totally happy with the way things happened. I learned, we were safe, and the car's in one piece, so we're good. So I don't know when we're going to be back out here, but soon enough, we'll keep you updated.